What is up, you guys? It is Jess, and for this video I had originally had different intentions, but I feel like this is something that I wanted to talk about. So if you've been following my Twitter and my Instagram, pretty much all of my social media, you will know that I am a huge Tonight Alive fan, though I've only been a fan for, I would say, the past maybe 3-4 years. And it was stated earlier this week that the new album is completed and it is getting ready to be released. I believe it is pretty much early in January of 2018. This is their first album release since they had signed to Hopeless Records, and everybody knows that they released their single World Away, which was pretty much a preview of the Tonight Alive that we were expecting. And when they had released Temple, they pretty much released the video for Temple, and a lot of fans were kind of shocked, I would say, about it, because there was pretty much an absence in the band in the video, and it was stated later on that guitarist Wakeo Tahi had decided to leave the band to, I believe what he said was he was mainly going to be doing like pretty much music inside like a studio instead of on stage. And a lot of fans were pretty much heartbroken over it because there would not be Tonight Alive without Walk, and he's pretty much one of the, I would say, favorites in the band, probably next to lead singer Jenna. And honestly, I was completely heartbroken. I was bummed out. Walk's pretty much one of my favorite guitarists, especially a lot of Walk's earlier kind of vibes with, I would say, the Other Side album, and, you know, even going into some of the Limitless stuff. And I believe bassist Cam had put out kind of his little 2 cents in about the Limitless era, how he felt like it was kind of rushed and maybe uncompleted, and it didn't really feel like Tonight Alive to him. But honestly, I believe the Limitless album was amazing. A lot of my favorite tracks came from that record, and for him to kind of think that it was unfinished, I mean, it's his opinion. He's the creators, and if he's one of the creators, and if, you know, he doesn't think that it is up to Tonight Alive standards, it might not be. But I do believe Walk had a lot to do with the creation of the new album Underworld, and I believe he was actually there pretty much while they were filming, kind of behind the scenes, and I think he was there behind the scenes helping and creating the album. So I believe he is going to be featured on the album as a writer and creator. However, this moment forward, I do not believe that he is going to be an actual member. They've actually released one of the first photos of the band post album announcement, where it is just the 4 of them without Walk. A lot of people had saw that too, and they were extremely bummed. And, you know, Walk's known for being so energetic on stage. He always, like, kind of points to fans and makes kind of silly faces at him, and he's honestly, like, he's a great person. He's super nice, and, you know, for him to leave Tonight Alive, the fan base was pretty much all touched by it. And, you know, if you're a true fan of a band, even if a band member leaves, I think you should still support them. It is your own opinion, however, but I do believe that Walk, it's his decision, and I don't believe that there is any bad blood between the band members from what I had seen. Lead singer Jenna McDougall had posted a few pictures on Instagram with her and Walk, and I believe the caption was something around, none of it would be possible without him. And, you know, all of the other band members pretty much had not really said anything negative about it. So there could be a possibility in the future, if Walk wants to come back and join the band, that he could. Tonight Alive has been around about 9 years, so almost a decade. You know, that's pretty much a lifetime. when you think about bands that have been around for that long, you're talking about Fall Out Boy, Paramore, and other bands like that. And Tonight Alive hasn't really been too kind of out there for very long. I still think they're very underrated, though they are one of my favorite bands. I got into them, I think, my late junior year, maybe senior year of high school, and they became one of my favorites just because they were a little bit heavier than what I was used to. I was trying to venture out a little bit, and they were actually one of the bands I was going to introduce you guys to. Tonight Alive would not be what it is if it hadn't been for guitarist Wakeo. He was pretty much like just a crazy character in the band. He was so loved by his fans, and for him to be making music behind the scenes, honestly, that's still great because he's still doing music. He's just not doing it on the stage. There's obviously no bad blood between the members. There's no like ongoing beef, so he could possibly come back. I think the way I look at it is if Walk came back to Tonight Alive, it would be probably the equivalent of Dave Brown Sound from Sum 41 coming back. And honestly, that's great because sometimes band members leave and then they come back. Sometimes they are gone for good, and you never know. It just depends on how they feel and how life is going for them. And honestly, if Walk comes back, it'll be amazing. And if he doesn't, Tonight Alive will do what they have to do to carry on, or kind of do what they have to do. And honestly, you can't get mad at a band for going on hiatus or breaking up, because it happens all the time, and you don't really realize it. When it comes to members leaving bands, you just kind of have to go with it, and whatever happens, happens. But honestly, I am truly heartbroken that Walk left, but it's his decision, and I respect it. And I believe Tonight Alive fans, if they honestly were true fans, they would respect his decision to leave and possibly hope for him to come back later on down the road. I don't believe that is impossible. I highly think it is possible that he will come back. And so they released a brand new album, announced more shows, and unfortunately lost a member, but that kind of thing happens all the time. It's nothing new. Like I said, if he comes back, it'll be great, because Walk is one of those people that you kind of can't replace in a band, because he was so energetic on stage. I've seen a lot of their live stuff online. I've never got to see Tonight Alive in person before, but I have seen a lot of their live stuff on YouTube and everything, and Walk is always just a character. And honestly, if he comes back, it'll be amazing. I do believe with this album that there is a possibility that Tonight Alive might go on Warped Tour this upcoming summer, and honestly, if they are going to Warped Tour, I am going to try my very best to go, because Tonight Alive is one of those bands that I've always wanted to see ever since I started getting into them. They were on Warped Tour a couple years ago. Unfortunately, I was not able to go due to circumstances out of my control. Even though I tried pretty hard to go, I still was not able to. But if they do come back this upcoming year, if Tonight Alive comes back in 2018, I am definitely going to try to go to Warped Tour. When Tonight Alive released Temple, I didn't really know what to expect with this new album, because from what it had sounded like, the band had done a lot of soul searching during the entire kind of writing and recording process. Especially lead singer Jenna, she was talking about how she didn't really feel like herself in past releases. So with this, she pretty much tried to find herself, and I honestly think that's great. I don't believe that when artists release music, they should be fake. I believe everything that they release should be real, and fans should love them or hate them based on what they release, as long as it's real. And for Tonight Alive, you can definitely tell in Temple that there was a lot of soul searching done, and you can love or hate the track. It is Tonight Alive. It has the Tonight Alive name. I still think it has kind of the Tonight Alive feel after they released the Limitless album. So, granted, bands change their sounds over time, just because a lot of bands start so early where the members are teenagers or young adults, and they progress into their late 20s and 30s, and they mature. It happened with Paramore, it happened with Fall Out Boy, it happened with Blink-182. It happens with bands, and with Tonight Alive, you know, when they released All Shapes and Disguises, they were all teenagers, and then it progressed into What Are You So Scared Of, and into The Other Side, and you can tell as they started releasing these records that they were maturing, and honestly, that's great. I know a while back Tonight Alive had released kind of a flyer for anybody in Australia who wanted to kind of participate in the video. So I believe that anybody who was in the music video knew that Walk was not going to be there. And I don't know if they had to keep it a secret or if it was just kind of hush hush for a while, because this was my first time hearing it. I heard about it when everybody else found out about it. And honestly, I mean, you can't really do anything when it comes to a band member leaving except kind of wish them well. And there's nothing wrong with them leaving. They're band members. I mean, sometimes, you know, touring gets stressful, music is stressful, and sometimes you need a break, and people cope in different ways. And honestly, are Tonight Alive at their peak? We don't know, because this will be their first release after signing with a new record label. Bands jump record labels all the time, and sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. I think around the time that they released their Limitless album, I believe they were ending their contract with Fearless Records, which was their previous record label, and they were starting to kind of get the ball rolling with Hopeless Records. So that's probably another reason why the Limitless album didn't really feel correct, I would say, in the band members' minds. But I still think it's a really solid album, to be honest. They had a lot of great songs, and I still think fans fell in love with it. And I don't believe there's anything bad with it, to be honest. I don't really know what to expect with this new album. Obviously, you can't base the entire album off of one single, so whenever they start releasing more singles, obviously I'm going to be staying up to date with them, because I kind of want to see what direction they're going in with this one. And with the live show aspects, I don't really know how they're going to do that, because a lot of the foundation for Tonight Alive, a lot of times they have multiple guitar parts, so will they get just kind of a touring guitarist? Possibly. That's usually what bands do after they lose a member, or they just bring somebody in and just have them join the band in general. Each band does it a different way. I guess it just depends on who is doing what and if they mesh well with the band. Usually they bring in a friend or kind of somebody who was working on the album, kind of tracking different parts, so we'll see how that goes. Honestly, I don't think Walk could ever be replaced. He is an amazing person. He's so nice, and you know, if he comes back, I will honestly be so excited and so happy. But obviously, I wish him well, and I wish Tonight Alive well. I know Hopeless Records will do a lot of great things with Tonight Alive. There's so much potential in that band, and honestly, I still think they're underrated, even though they've been around for 9 years. They're still so underrated, and there's only like a handful of people that I know who actually have heard or know of Tonight Alive. So honestly, every band can use more exposure, but I like keeping my favorite bands kind of to myself. But if you haven't already, go ahead and check out Tonight Alive's new song, Temple, and anticipate the new album coming out, Underworld. And I know I'm going to be so ready for it when it comes out. And we'll see what else Tonight Alive has up their sleeve, and we'll see where they go from here. But if there's nothing else, I'm Jess. See you later.